Greetings and welcome to another episode of American Heroes Outdoors. Our adventures take us to some amazing places, but few are as special as Bayfield, Wisconsin and the Apostle Islands. Let's catch up with American Heroes Outdoors Ambassador Sam Floberg and find out what this adventure is all about.
We're going to meet up with Sean and Casey Allen, along with Jeff Savelkoul and a couple other veterans. So why don't you guys join us while we fish for lake trout on Lake Superior, and then we're going to go up to York Island and pay tribute to Merle and Allen. Then we're going to highlight the history behind York Allen and the Allen family.
Throughout history, brave men and women have answered their nation's call to serve. Heroes who have put their life on the line for each other and our freedoms. These are their stories.
American Heroes Outdoors is brought to you by SCHEELS, Disabled American Veterans of Minnesota, Smoky Hills Outdoor Store, Gate City Bank, Skeeter Boats and Yamaha Outboards, Yamaha Power Products, Woodland Resort, S&S Promotional Group, Wheelers Point Resort, and Ice Castle Fish Houses.
On the north shore of Wisconsin, way up past where up north ends, lay the Apostle Islands. Sprinkled throughout is York Island, and that's where the story takes place. We had 2,200 feet of property on the main shore in Little Sand Bay. That's where we grew up. My parents also owned York Island before the park bill had gone through and they made a federal park out of this. So we'd come out here and have picnics and stuff, but we had the run of the island and the main shore. Sean's older brother, Merle Allen, honorably served in Vietnam and paid the ultimate price after his helicopter was hit by enemy fire. Merle's remains were not recovered until 2013, when he was finally brought home to his resting place on York Island. It's hard for me to put it in words, how much that meant to us for him to finally be back home. Jeff Savelkoul and Merle Allen served together in Vietnam on Marine Recon Team Stryker. Jeff was in the helicopter with Merle when it was shot down.
Merle and I should have been in the same window, but Junior was there with Merle. So I didn't have any place to shoot, so I stepped back and was firing out the edge of the tailgate. That was open. And as I stepped back, we got hit by a rocket, and I was in the void behind Merle. I know Merle died instantly, and I was in the void behind him, and I know it was my best friend that is the reason I'm here today. So Merle and the other 5 guys were lost that day, and I just made it my mission to do everything in my power to get them home.
Being on that island, being at that monument, just being in nature, listening to the waves, how they lap against the shoreline, it just calms you. It takes all the stress away. You can feel stuff lift off your chest. They don't do it for the recognition. They do it because they can see, the therapy, the relief that it gives people. They're great people. They do it for the right reason. So I love being able to come up here, and I hope in the future I can help them continue mission. As far as bringing select veterans out here, and helping them experience what I'm able to experience on these trips, and then just the recovery of that.
There's a lot of people, a lot of vets that come out here, and it's just a peaceful place and a place for them to reflect, and it's a special place.
Yep.
All right, good. Nice. First fish of the day.
Well, you got half your
Half my limit already.
when we were setting out, you said you had to catch the first fish and beat the Marine, didn't you?
That's right, by God.
Yeah.
You can hang on. I'll hook this on here. All right. Well, it's a start. Throw them in the cooler. Boy, it makes me feel pretty good to boat the first fish. I know he looks like he's going to taste pretty darn good, I'll tell you that. It's a nice fish. We'll just hold the rod out that way. Okay, good.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice lake trout. So we got Sean, yeah, just off the back here. I think they're at the same amount, 3 and 3, 3 Lakers in the cooler.
All right. Nice.
The fishing turned into a frenzy, with the whole crew getting their fair share. At one point, a triple hookup at the same time.
The triple.
Yeah, it's just not moving.
Don't twist it. Take the line in. Okay, nice. Got him. Hey. That was kind of fun to catch that many in that little short amount of time, huh? Yeah.
Joining in on this group was Navy veteran Larry Gilbertson.
Well, I don't know if I really gave the military too much thought until my senior year in high school. And this buddy of mine says, let's go to the cities and join the Marines. So let's do it. Off to the St. Paul Depot we go, where all the recruiters are. We get in there, the Marine recruiter was out of his office for the day. Went and visited the Navy recruiter, went and visited the Army recruiter. And when we left, that buddy of mine, I call him Rabbit, he joined the Army and I joined the Navy, and that's how I got started in my military career. The fighting was throughout just about all of Vietnam, with the heaviest fighting naturally in the north. But they had a lot of VC in the south, and that's where they like to ship all their arms and stuff into. And the boats I was on is a 50-foot PCF. They call it a swift boat. The PCF stands for Patrol Craft Fast. And we would patrol the coast to start out with to look for trawlers bringing in, arms and whatever, food supplies, everything to the VC, because there was a lot of VC in South Vietnam down in the Delta. And so we were on patrol to try to prevent that. We'd inspect all the little sampans for the fishing boats, everything, just to make sure there was no contraband being moved in or out of the country. And you knew you were in a different world. It was nothing like you'd ever seen before. The atmosphere was a different feeling, being in a place where somebody could take a poke at you just about when you least expect it. Even though you were in a friendly area, not everybody was as friendly as what they wanted you to think they were.
So yeah, we just got onto Madeline Island, and so we're getting ready to clean our fish on the dock, and then We're going to go over and check out how the other guys did.
It was a good day of fishing. I think they had a good time. The bite was good.
It was about a 45-minute lull, and then all of a sudden it was game on again.
Welcome to SCHEELS Hometown Heroes.
SCHEELS Hometown Heroes is a way for us to say thanks
to those that serve our country and our community
and are still giving back to others today.
We honor your service by sharing your stories.
From all of us at SCHEELS, thank you for your service.
Hi there, my name is Alex Koob with SCHEELS in Sioux Falls. We are proud to announce Kelly Petterson as our hometown hero. Thank you, Kelly, for all of your service and sacrifice.
I grew up down in Canton, South Dakota, a small town about 20 miles south of Sioux Falls. Grew up around flying around airplanes. My dad flew skydivers for years in a skydiving club, and he was also a charter commercial pilot for a while before he started the family business. My grandfather on my mom's side was a pilot during World War II. He was a civilian flight instructor. So that's where the flying bug came from. So I kind of grew up around airplanes, and in the middle of all that, in high school, I got into cars and racing, and that's where I met the Copines.
My first memory of Kelly is probably back in 1983. I met him at Thunder Valley Drag Race in Marion, South Dakota. Him and his family were bracket racing a Dodge Charger, and he seemed to be a good little driver. I could tell back then that he thought things out before he would do things. And when he told me that he was going to the Air Force, his grandfather, I believe, was an airline pilot. And someday he wanted to be a commercial airline pilot. I told my family that there's no doubt in my mind, someday he will be, I'm going to climb on a plane and it's going to be Captain Petterson, enjoy our trip to wherever, so I could just see it. And he's done that. He's done that since day one. He's just one of those guys that's got the vision, and when he put his mind to it, he did it. I had two sons, Michael and Aaron. Aaron passed away in 2006. If it wasn't for Kelly, he held us all together. He kind of come to our rescue.
In the Air Force back then, you could get a career field, so I was going to be a crew chief. You couldn't really pick the airplane you were going to work on. It was kind of the needs of the Air Force. When I got through tech school, I picked all bases that had F-16s. And I lucked out and I drew Hill Air Force Base out in Utah, and they had F-16. So I started out my Air Force career working on F-16. So I got what I wanted that way, and it was as cool as I thought it would be. I really enjoyed it. My real deployment experience didn't happen until I got in the Air National Guard. And my first trip with the South Dakota National Guard, we actually deployed to Panama during Just Cause in the late 80s when Noriega was tossed out. So I was down there. We arrived in country the day after the invasion, and we were there providing close air support and combat air assets for the invasion of Panama. Fast forward to the second go-around in Iraq. In 2006, I deployed to Balad Air Base, Iraq. We were there for a couple months providing close air support to troops on the ground, just whatever the commanders needed for our fighters to take care of. That's what we did there. I went back again in 2009 and 10, did the exact same thing again, just a different trip.
It was definitely easier for me when it was just us dating, because I was old enough to understand that, yeah, he's in danger, but he's also in safe areas, where as a mom you don't want them to be worried and you don't want anything to happen to him. It was awful, but we're also proud of him,
Events that happened in my civilian career kind of drove my military career with my flying career. The kids were born the first one, Laura, was born in 2001, right after September 11th, which subsequently I lost my civilian job because of September 11th. I was an airline pilot at TWA, and I was pretty junior there, so we got furloughed from the airline, so I basically lost my job with a baby on the way. So that was pretty stressful, but again, I was able to roll right into the South Dakota National Guard and pick up some extra days out there, and we went on some trips early on, went to Saudi Arabia for Southern Watch before the second war kicked off, and then all the deployments. We're very, very fortunate here in the South Dakota National Guard and Army Guard and Air Guard units throughout the upper Midwest is the quality of the people. And it's the communities that mold these people, and Sioux Falls is no different.
He's a family guy, he's a Air National Guard, he's an Air Force veteran. I think he's super proud of being a father to Laura and Andrew, and he really likes to see them succeed, and he encourages them to, live out their dreams.
I'm a little uncomfortable with the term hero as it applies to me. I know a lot of men and women that have served active duty and in the Guard and gone around the world that I would consider heroes. The folks that go outside the wire, the police, the fire department, that when you're running out of the building, they're running in the building. I think those folks are heroes. Obviously the families that have lost family members, they're heroes. Our cemeteries, Arlington and our cemeteries around the country are full of heroes. It's very humbling, very, very humbling.
With the fish caught and respects to Merle Allen and Recon Team Striker paid, Sean and Casey toured us around the Apostle Islands, a truly powerful and reflective place to visit. For Sean and Casey, it is something they know all too well.
Well, this is my homestead, I should say, is where I grew up. Our house was located there, and we had 2,200 feet of beach front in Little Sand Bay.
This is the Allen cabin. We're in Bayfield, Wisconsin. It was built by my father in 1975. It was vacant till 2002. It started out, Sean and I needed someplace to go deer hunting from, a base camp. We were just blessed, and we'd like to share that with others.
A lot of sweat equity that went into it. There's bits and pieces of my dad in there and Merle. Each one of us, it's a great place to come. You feel home. I never really had that family bonding atmosphere, a place like the cabin. Hunting shack. Old deer horns hanging in there and bits and little trinkets that remind you, it reminds me of Merle. Like I say, I'll never take Merle's place, but I'm honored to be able to fill that gap and be a part of the family and all that goes with it. The brotherliness of it all, and just something you just kind of wait for all year long,
They treat us so well, feed us well, take us on a little fishing trip. And this is the second time I've come in here with Jeff to do the memorial, and I really feel honored to do it.
Well, for me, it's always been to get old veterans and young veterans together, sit around the campfire, start a conversation, and I've always been open and free to share my story because that's how I honor my men, my teammates. And I feel if I open up and tell my story, I'm encouraging others to open up and tell their story.
It means a lot to be able to, sit around the campfire, sit around the cabin, and just talk. When you get around vets, you can share stories that civilians or people that have never served, they don't understand, and the veteran feels comfortable sharing it. Where they don't have to go in and elaborate certain things. You can just say, a word or half a sentence, and it's, you understand, what other people have gone through, or you can relate. And it's just, depending on the story, it's hard, it tugs at your heartstrings, and just like you can sympathize or empathize with the person. Tears are shed, hugs are shared, or just a calm and silent understanding, and that's healing. And you may tell the same story over and over again, to people that ask, but when you get around vets and in these settings, with other vets in Bayfield, Wisconsin, at the family cabin, on York Island, even though it's the same story, something happens where it's healing. You can leave a part of it there, so you can move on.
We all share something pretty unique that is tough to just talk about at home. Yet another veteran opens up and lets his guard down a little bit, and it may spur you on to open up and talk to me. And communication starts, and by the end of 3 days, these guys are much closer, and everybody seems to have healed a little bit.
For all the vets that are out there, they need to go on one of these outings, whether it's a pheasant hunt in Nebraska or it's up here fishing lake trout on Lake Superior. There's organizations all around the country that can help them out, and it's a good healing process for them.
American Heroes Outdoors is brought to you by SCHEELS, Disabled American Veterans of Minnesota, Smoky Hills Outdoor Store, Gate City Bank, Skeeter Boats and Yamaha Outboards, Yamaha Power Products, Woodland Resort, S&S Promotional Group, Wheelers Point Resort, and Ice Castle Fish Houses.